Hi there, sport fans.
All of you are probably familiar with these sponsored radio programs, which are rapidly becoming the highest type entertainment features on broadcasting stations.
As your master of ceremonies, I solemnly swear that we're going to try to make it 60 minutes of real enjoyment for every member of the family.
Shit.
Hello, welcome. I am your host, Mason Stewart. This is the Undrafted, Uncensored. I'm joined with my good friend, Caleb Malden, my other good friend, Colin, the man of many nicknames, Zanker Spankers, the Prophet, Big Kahuna, Magician, Magic Man, whatever you want to call him. How are you boys today?
Doing all right. It is a very hot day outside, so I've just been staying inside where the AC is.
I don't know how you can not be doing great when it's opening weekend. Like, it's opening weekend.
Yes.
Everything's new. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anything that's been said the last 7 months or what happened in training camp. Every team's going to be perfect and go 17-0. It's a beautiful weekend.
It certainly is. Let's go ahead and hop into our first topic of tonight, which was we had a fantastic Thursday night football game that happened last night. If you didn't see, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers took on the Dallas Cowboys. Tampa Bay did end up winning that game in, I don't know if you want to call it a fourth quarter thriller. I mean, the game was interesting from start to finish.
Yes, what made it fun is that it had literally everything you could want in a thriller football game. You had controversial calls, and a lot of people agreed with. You had really weird plays, sloppy mistakes from both sides. The Buccaneers gave the Cowboys life when they had them dead to rights, essentially. And Dak Prescott, he looked really good last night.
So that was something else I wanted to ask you guys. Are you impressed, first of all, with the Dallas Cowboys?
Yes.
Second of all,
hey,
I was
gonna say that's my pick to win that division.
Yeah, fair enough. I can get down with that.
Yeah, I would say their defense is exactly what I thought it was. They couldn't stop Antonio Brown or Gronkowski, which I don't know how Dan Quinn hasn't figured out that Gronkowski's still a viable passing threat yet, but
it takes some time.
I'm impressed with that.
They couldn't stop it. I mean, the only thing they stopped was the run game because Tampa Bay didn't try and run the ball. Chris Godwin went off for 109 yards too.
Yeah, both teams basically abandoned their run game at that point. I get the Bucs front seven is really good. It's hard to run against it, but I would have just given it to Zeke just to keep them from blitzing Dak constantly. At least give him an extra second or two.
And so that was another thing that I found kind of, I don't know if you want to say strange. Zeke didn't get nearly the amount of touches that I thought he should have. Granted, I understood that you were behind most of the game and Dak was throwing his life depended on it. But I felt like you could have utilized Zeke maybe just a bit more. I don't know if you guys felt the same way.
Yeah, they were behind, but they weren't behind to the point where it was, really multiple possessions and they need to play a lot of catch up really until that last drive with 4 minutes left when they took the ball down the field. They didn't really have to throw as much. They could have established Zeke more. And for Dak, I mean, Dak looks good. Dak looks like he's back. But for Dak and the Cowboys, Dak has thrown, this is his fourth straight game over 400 yards and he's lost them all.
Yeah.
All of them with over 400. And one's over 500. So
again, that's mostly due to the defense not holding up their end of the bargain. A lot of the drives in the first half I noticed were easy for Brady. He didn't have that much pressure on him. He could just throw to whoever he wanted. And the throws were pretty wide open throws.
Which is exactly where I was going, Caleb. That defense is making him throw that much, so he's obviously capable of doing that and leading a team. But your defense, you've got to stop him. And I I get it. It's tough. I mean, did you see the look on Brady's face? Oh, we have a minute 30. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm good.
We're just going to score.
I'm just going to torch
Plenty of
these
time.
guys.
I knew they were going to win when they had a minute 30 left. I'm like, you gave them too much time.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing with like Rodgers or anybody else in this league who is like an elite quarterback. You know, whether it's Brady, Rodgers, I would even put Dak at this point right now. He seems like he's getting up there. You give them a minute and 30, that's like giving them a full 2-minute drive, or not 2-minute drive. I don't even know why I said 2-minute drive, but like a full like a quarter length drive, basically.
Yeah, like the 5-minute or 4-minute fourth quarter offense.
Yeah.
Well, what also helped is that, like,
the end of the game offense.
They didn't force Ryan Suckup to have to kick from like 40, 50-yard range. He was kicking from the 19-yard line. They made it easy for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but speaking of that, did you see how rusty Tom Brady was? I mean, those last 3 throws that he took at the end of the game, man, he missed his receivers so far out on the sideline. I couldn't believe it. Like, how can Tampa Bay say they're going to win a Super Bowl when Tom Brady can't even hit the guys on the sideline? Like, that was fucking embarrassing.
So that leads me to my next question is, based on the performance that we saw from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last night, do you think they are probably, I guess the best question, do you think they're repeat victors of the Super Bowl?
They have a chance, but their secondary has some work to do. Now, they lost Sean Murphy-Bunting due to that awful arm injury, and Carlton Davis and Dean were getting burned all night. So, and they also lost their starting safety alongside Winfield.
Their starting safety wasn't there.
So
to play the game,
they're going to need some cleanup in the secondary, but I think they'll be fine. They'll definitely. I have them in the NFC Championship game again against Green Bay. I think we're heading toward a rematch between those two.
I think it's I was gonna say it's hard to say, especially after that performance, and especially from, you know, I know Godwin had a couple of drops last night, and I mean they could have easily
fumble on the 2.
Fumble on the 2. They could have easily sealed that game 3 or 4 different times, I think. And I think those little mental errors are probably things that are going to get worked out and fixed, and I'm sure Tampa Bay will be just fine. But for me, again, I think it's just going to be them coming out of the NFC, and I don't see, unless the Packers really come out and surprise me this year, I just don't see anybody who really poses a threat to them in the NFC.
Well,
I would take the Tampa Bay offense over the Green Bay offense.
Yeah, me too.
And that's a strong statement because Green Bay had the number 1 offense in the league last year. Green Bay was
it helps when it helps when Aaron Rodgers is starting that. But as far as an all-around game that they have on offense and the dynamic weapons, you know, Devontae Adams is a huge weapon. And Tanyan came into his own later on, especially in the red zone as a target. But, you know, there's so many mouths to feed. And, you know, it was like, oh, okay, Ronald Jones, you fumbled. Here you go, Fournette. You know, Godwin fumbled, and I understand, you know, you noticed after Godwin fumbled, they did go back to him, but first they went to Mike Evans. When you have those options and a guy like Tom Brady at quarterback, I mean, I would, if Rodgers was in that offense, I would still take the Tampa Bay offense. It's not a slight on Rodgers. They're too dynamic, but that offense overall, the weapons is just unreal.
Not to mention Rob Gronkowski too, who single-handedly helped me win my fantasy football tournament.
Single-handedly.
Yeah.
Well, it was his low left hand.
It was a little left hand fondling, you know.
My favorite
40 points for me.
Woo! My favorite play.
I got like 22.
I got like 40. I don't know.
My favorite plays with him were when they left Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence each on one-on-one coverage. Like, who leaves a linebacker?
Especially on Gronk.
I'm like, leave a rookie linebacker one-on-one with Rob Gronkowski. That's going to work out. No. Of course he's going to get beat down the field. Then they tried it with DeMarcus Lawrence, and Lawrence just got dusted. And just...
Here was a thought I had, too, in watching Rob Gronkowski be as dominant as I felt like he was in New England. Do you guys think he just had to get back, play a year to get back to where he was? Because last year I feel like we weren't really talking about him a whole lot.
I think there was also the Cameron Brate stuff going on there. There was a little bit of changing of the guard. Maybe it was the year off, his time off of football. I think he literally just needed to get healthy for a season and then come back, play, and get back to playing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think some of that was rust last year because you could see it towards the end of the season. I mean, we saw it in the Super Bowl, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Just running straight down the seam, and he's unguardable.
He really is. Size, strength, speed, everything.
And the thing with the Bucs is that before Gronk came in, it's not like they exactly were thin at the tight end position. OJ Howard had his problems, but he's a very talented tight end. Same goes for Cameron Brate. But I would not be surprised if OJ Howard at some point just asked for a trade, because between Gronk and Brate, he's hardly going to get any touches.
Well, who was the other guy who was there who got traded last year? There was one other guy who moved up to the NFC or AFC North. I'm gonna sneeze.
I can't remember.
Oh, there was one other. I thought there was one other. Either way, I mean, it's a stacked offense, and for a guy like Brady, I mean, yeah. To go back to your question, Mace, I mean, the favorite. They're definitely the favorite to go back and repeat. I can't put another team ahead of them, even with this, because last year what it goes to is that last year what happened is we saw them kind of figure things out and work together after that bye week. They get blown out by KC, and then they go on to not lose a game after that. So, honestly, it takes us old guys a little bit longer to get things going. So maybe that's just what happens.
Maybe that's all it is.
They need a little bit of time. And I'm sure that, by the midway point of the season, this team will be rolling and firing on all cylinders and putting up 40 points a game.
Yeah.
I will find it hard pressed to find anyone who doesn't have Tampa Bay and Green Bay in the NFC Championship for a rematch. I can't find anyone who thinks otherwise, honestly. Other than maybe,
after
Bayless.
what I've seen from Dallas tonight, I'm not saying Dallas is going to make it to the NFC Championship, but no. I mean, this is if Dak stays healthy the whole year and the defense can even just hold the team to 20 points, doesn't need to do much because it seems like Dak can score 4 touchdowns a game, no problem. I think Dallas could be an issue. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to make it to the NFC Championship, but I think it's probably a good start.
Yeah.
The problem is
my money would be on it.
Yeah. The problem is they would likely have to run the road gauntlet if Dallas made it to the playoffs. Because they'll probably make it to the playoffs because they win the East at that point with how weak the division is. So you make it to get the one home playoff game, and then you got to run the gauntlet of the 2 road games, which let's just say they most likely go to either Tampa Bay or Green Bay for that divisional game. And either you're playing in Florida when it's hot as hell and it's humid, or you're playing on the frozen tundra in Lambeau. And then you have to go the other way for the NFC title game if you somehow make it.
No, I don't think, the division for the Cowboys is weak beyond the Washington football team's defense. I mean, their offense is going to be okay. I mean, it'll be above average. It's not going to be bad.
It'll depend on what
comparison and that's what I'm saying. It's going to be above average because they do have weapons, and he'll have his up games, he'll have his down games, but Dallas's offense will carry them. And there's just no doubt that, they're going to, that division should be between them and Washington. Tampa Bay is going to run away with their division.
Yeah.
And then, it's a gauntlet out west. I mean, those teams in the West are going to beat up on each other.
The only team I could really,
I don't know if they're really going to end up needing to play in the wild card weekend. They could end up being a legitimate 2 seed because of how shitty that division is.
Yeah. No, that's totally fair. Well, I think that was a good enough recap of what we thought about last night's game. Let's move into this weekend's game, more specifically the Denver Broncos at the New York Giants. It's going to be our opening game. Boys, let's just talk about, first off, what do you think are the keys to this game for the Denver Broncos in order to secure a victory week 1?
So
Caleb, you go first.
Yeah. So I talked about this in my Broncos Country News preview video, shameless plug. So I said, first off, if I'm Vic Fangio, dial up the blitzes against Daniel Jones. We know that his biggest issue is sensing pressure, especially when it's coming from his backside. Because to his credit, he never takes his eyes off the field. He's trying to see an open receiver, but he doesn't know when to bail out and just take off and run. He just stands there for an eternity. So if you send the blitzes, make him see ghosts, send the safety, blindside him, and you know he's going to have one fumble. You're going to get one on him. So just send the blitzes early, make him start to see ghosts, because you got to minimize how effective Saquon can be. I don't know how often they'll use him. He's been up and down all week, and they don't have Evan Ingram. They're not going to have their top tight end. So I say send the blitzes. That's one key. You got to make Daniel Jones see ghosts. Don't let him settle in.
Do either of you guys know? I haven't heard or seen any news updates about this. I know Vic said that Bradley Chubb was going to be good to go week 1. Has anything changed?
From what I've read,
he's questionable going in. He's a game time decision.
Okay.
But from what I've read, they said Fant, he's good to go. Chubb and Fant were full participants in today's practice.
It's okay. I thought it still said game time. Well, I mean, yeah, it still said game time decision, but likely to go.
But today they were full participants in practice, which is a good thing. Another key for the Broncos, I think it's going to be Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon. They are going to be huge in this game because we know that giant front seven's no joke. So I want to keep the pressure off Teddy as much as we can and open up things for him. So let those two pound away. If they can't stop it, don't stop running the ball. And for Teddy, I don't think he has to do that much. Just keep it simple. Don't be stupid. Just throw some nice passes.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah, just keep the offense on the field. That's all we need. And of course, punch it in when you get in the red zone. Make those red zone possessions count.
Yeah, so I have this from Pro Football Talk and from Fangio. He told Channel 4 that Chubb is unlikely to be 100%, but whether or not he plays will be a decision based upon how much he can do. Chubb didn't practice Wednesday, limited Thursday. Fangio said Chubb did just a little bit during Friday's session. But tight end Noah Fant, who was limited Wednesday, was full Thursday, and he said he's set to play on Sunday.
So I imagine if they were to play Chubb, he'd be in rotation. Like they'll have Malik Reed and Jonathan Cooper probably rotating with him to make sure that they don't put too much on him.
Yeah, exactly. He's not gonna play a whole game. He's not gonna, have 60 defensive snaps out there. And with that for the Broncos, get these young guys. Let's see what PS2 can do. What I'm watching is how this Broncos team and these young guys really react to it's opening night. It's going to be wild in New York. There's going to be all this all the surrounding things that are happening over opening weekend around there. Can they keep their heads down and take care of business? Because what's happening in the past is that we've seen Broncos teams get distracted going into games like this. The most glaring one is the Super Bowl, which this is in the same stage, but opening night is pretty damn close to Super Bowl in a lot of ways because it's the biggest game in town. It doesn't matter what's happening with the Mets or the Yankees or anything like that. Like, this is the biggest game, even though it's in New Jersey. It's the biggest thing in town. And so can these guys stay focused and really put away an inferior team? And then, playing off of that for the Broncos is, Caleb, you said it, score points. For the Broncos, we are so used to seeing McManus kick field goals, and it's great to have a reliable kicker. But, bro, I don't want to see McManus unless he's kicking 27-yard extra points. Yeah. All right? Yeah. That's fucking it.
Yeah, I say
they should be putting it in the end zone against this defense whose secondary is not great. They're missing offensive players. And the other thing that I need to see from this Broncos defense is, dude, stop Devontae Booker. All right, Devontae Booker is going to have a chip on his shoulder like he did when he was with the Raiders. He's going to try and go off again and hurt this Broncos team.
Again, like I said,
gave up on him. So
send the blitzes. That offensive line is their weak spot. Overwhelm them.
Yeah, so, but then Devontae Booker, you also keep account because he caught some of those out passes when the Broncos blitzed. Now, Carr is a better quarterback than Daniel Jones, but he caught some of those passes and took him to the house. What was that, a 25-yard touchdown catch and run that he got against the Broncos last season?
Yeah,
because he caught just a little screen pass. Yeah. So, listen, you need to account for that because you have to know that the guys that you're going up against, especially a guy like Booker, is going to try and get you. And it's all accounts are that Saquon's going to be somewhat limited. I don't know what that means because honestly, Saquon could get in there and be like, "I'm okay, coach," and they're going to ride him the whole game. And Devontae Booker might not even make an appearance, but those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touches that he might get, don't let him hit a home run on you because that guy will go out. He's got extra juice every time he plays the Broncos.
Another thing is, I said this on my Twitter. I said, I felt that the only ones that could really beat the Broncos are themselves at this point. I feel like I said they should win this game, but if they come out and they don't take the Giants seriously and they come out flat and sloppy, they make mistakes, which I have my questions about Fangio as a coach, but to his credit, this team rarely takes stupid penalties like taunting or doing something after the play, bad hits. They rarely do something stupid to their credit. But if the Broncos don't take this seriously and they kind of give the Giants life when they don't need it, I think if Denver loses this game, we have a serious question about the coaching staff because there is no way you can afford to take this game lightly.
Yeah. No, I mean, you took the words right out of my mouth right there. I've been stressing and saying since the schedule was posted, seeing New York Giants week 1, if Vic Fangio cannot, regardless of if it was Drew Lock or Teddy Bridgewater to start QB, you have enough talent offensive and defensively to be able to beat these guys and put them away easily. Should you not take them as a threat? Absolutely not. I mean, like we've got Saquon, Devontae Booker, Danny Dimes. He can still play. He's not an awful quarterback. He's not bad, but I think there are opportunities that you need to capitalize on. Like you said, send blitz packages here and there. Make sure Danny Dimes is uncomfortable the whole time. Make sure that nobody's getting out of the backfield, unguarded or anything like that. Devontae Booker going out, on a simple little bubble route and then suddenly gets 60, 70 yards or a touchdown. Can't have those things. And I think as long as you come away with a win, Vic Fangio is secured for at least another couple of weeks. He's got to prove himself through the next 2 games because, you played Houston and Jacksonville. Another couple of games I think you should be able to win. But if you're Vic Fangio, you have to win this game. Otherwise, you are on the hot seat already to start the season.
I'm not kidding. I say if they lose these first 2 games, I think Fangio's gone after game 2. I am not kidding. If they lose these first 2 games,
I can see it.
Well, because unfortunately, like earlier in the season, I did have them losing these first 2.
Yeah,
and that was more of it was a thing. I'm still nervous. I'll have to see how the Broncos play this weekend, but that Jacksonville game still scares the shit out of me.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie.
Because going out there early is rough, but they need to take care of business this weekend, and that will play a role in the next week. But I think I still have them losing next week in Jacksonville, kind of regardless of how this goes, because it's a trap game for a team that is so fucking stacked.
Same goes for this Giants game. Like, I've been nervous this entire time. Like, everyone I've seen is confident that they're going to blow them out. Like, they think the Broncos are just going to go out there and blow them out. But for some reason, I don't know why, I can't shake the feeling. I think regardless if it was Drew or Teddy they started, this feels like a trap waiting to happen. Like, it feels like Denver might go in there just a little bit overconfident, and the Giants come out there punching them in the mouth. They send blitzes. They do some stuff that the Broncos aren't ready for. Like, the Broncos probably get knocked off in the first half, then maybe roar back in the second. But I don't know. I just cannot shake the feeling that this is not going to be easy. This will be a tight game. It could be a 1-possession game late.
Let's talk about your guys' favorite.
I had one question.
Oh,
can I ask one question? Okay.
Yeah.
So This popped into my head. I might have heard it somewhere else, but what's your answer to this? Because I know my answer. The Broncos lose this game if. My answer is the Broncos lose this game if they lose the turnover battle.
Okay.
Yeah.
They can't have those tip passes that go for interceptions. They can't have a fumble at the 20. They can't give the Giants a short field. And the defense needs to create that short field for this offense because we know that Bridgewater will move it down methodically, and they can score that way. So that's mine is the turnover battle. If they lose the turnover battle, I don't think they win this game.
Mace, you go first.
I have a funny answer and a serious answer. The Broncos lose this game if they don't score any points. That's a funny answer.
That's damn true. It could be a 3-0 game.
Serious answer. The Broncos lose this game if Teddy Bridgewater cannot throw over 100 yards.
Mm-hmm.
I say it's kind of leaning on yours, Mace. I say they lose this game if they're inefficient in the red zone. You can get to the 20 all you want, but if we get inside the 20-yard line, I don't want to see McManus out there. I want to see him punching it in. If you go for like 1 for 5 in the red zone, you're not winning that game. You can't go 1 for 5 in the red zone. You've got to cash it in. So if they're bad in the red zone, they're not winning. No matter how good the defense plays, they're not winning.
And we talked about this a little bit just a second ago, but I'm curious now. Who are your guys' players to watch, or if there are any matchups that you are seriously excited about for this game? If you want, I'll start. I'm excited for Cortland Sutton to be back. I'm expecting him to be a huge part of this offense this week.
I've got 2 offense and 2 defense. My offensive players, one is obviously Jerry Jeudy. I want to see, because everyone was hyping up the connection with him and Teddy. I want to see if that's realized. I want to see how well he plays. Second, I'm excited to see Javonte Williams. I want to see how he does at game speed against a pretty good front 7. Defensively, obviously, Pat Surtain. I don't think they're going to put him on Galladay, and I don't know if he's going to start, but I expect him to get some playing time, and I'm excited to see how he plays. And I actually will be excited to see, if it's not Bradley Chubb, I am going to see, if Bradley Chubb isn't in there, I'm going to look at Von Miller. I want to see how he looks like in his first game back, how he plays, how fast he is, if he's still got that quick speed off the edge. I'm going to be looking at him.
So, I'm the same with Javonte. Ever since that draft, even before that, I didn't realize that, he would even be a possibility in the Broncos uniform, honestly. I thought he was going to be a first-round draft pick and a possibility to be drafted before the other guys. And that's Najee and ETN. But so Javonte putting a firm hold on this, running back committee, because the Broncos, to win games this year, the platoon, it doesn't work, especially if you have a guy like Javonte. We talked about it with Zeke. Javonte is in that Zeke mold. You need to feed him. You need to give him the ball. He needs to run, and he'll get better as the game goes along, because he's going to wear the hell out of that defense. The way he plays and his physical style,
he's a bruiser.
It'll demolish that defense's ego. So Javonte.
It also keeps the pressure off Teddy. It keeps them from blitzing like crazy.
Yeah, and then I want to see how the front 4 look for the Denver Broncos on defense. Blocking both defense and offense, but in particular on defense. You mentioned them blitzing, getting to Daniel Jones. Can this front 4, how it's made up, get pressure on the quarterback consistently without leaving the secondary short-handed or in man-on-man situations?
That's true. You need a good
because you have a rookie cornerback in PS2 who, in all accounts, should be really good, but he also doesn't know this NFL game at this level and hasn't played it yet. Yeah. So having veterans like Justin Simmons and Kareem Jackson back there to help him, because he's going to make mistakes. There's going to be a learning curve. We're going to see it. Maybe it's not in this game. Maybe it's not in week 2. Maybe it's in week 10. But we will see that. So that front 4 needs to be able to get that pressure consistently on defense, and then stop the pressure on offense for Teddy Bridgewater, because that's been something the Broncos have lacked. It's a front 4-man pressure that they don't need to bring the blitz for. Ever since the Super Bowl, we really haven't had that here in Denver.
Yeah.
Well, I think you got a nice edge rusher. I'm excited to see in Draymond Jones. I'm excited to see how he plays. I think he's really had a good year last year. Harris, of course, we know what he brings to the table. And depending on who they have, if it's Chubb or Malik Reed or Cooper, if they're having a rotation between the three of them, I
probably will be.
Yeah, I think that Von Miller goes against Andrew Thomas, who's a left tackle who's not very good. So, and he's being left one-on-one with the poor guy. So that he should get some good sacks. Their left guard's a little weak, so Harris should have a decent time. And their center, if Draymond Jones could take advantage of his right side, he should be able to get through as well.
Yeah,
Final
I mean,
score?
they
Go
should.
ahead.
I was just saying, yeah, they should, but will they?
Yeah,
that's a question, because you could look at a lot of Broncos teams over the last few years and say, well, they should be able to do this, and then they don't.
Yeah.
So this is a team that they need to do that and set that tone for the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Final score predictions?
23-17 Broncos.
Yeah, 34-15.
Wow.
Damn.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna also stick low scoring on this one. I'm gonna say 10-17 Broncos.
Oof.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a low scoring game.
I think if there is gonna be any high scoring games, I don't think it's gonna be these first couple of ones for the Denver Broncos. I think it'll probably come.
Go. Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think it's gonna come a lot later in the season, or at least maybe against Houston or something like that. I get that New York Giants don't. I know. I hope so. I get that the New York Giants aren't necessarily a super big powerhouse team on defense, but I think it's going to take a second for Bridgewater to kind of embrace that starting position. And I think it's also going to take a minute for everybody out on the field to kind of just kind of gel and combat together. So
see, and I don't I don't, because if you look at what happened for the Broncos this preseason, what did they do through every single game? All of these starters really played. Everybody played, and they played together. Maybe it wasn't the whole time, but they played more than all these other teams together. I break down the minutes. I don't have that number for you, but I would argue to say that the starters for the Broncos this preseason played more than any other team.
Probably.
I mean, that's
they did play a lot.
They've had that time to mesh and play together. So I don't think it's going to take Teddy Bridgewater a long time to embrace this role, because he also knows that if he doesn't embrace this and come out firing and come out hot and consistent, that his long-term future in the NFL is in the line. Maybe it's not his job this year in life, but long-term, yeah. So I also think that that 34 defensive score at least comes into play there.
Well, I've said
that's fair.
My biggest fear, and I wonder what you guys think about this, is that the offense's flaws could get masked by the first three games. Like you squeak away with some defensive victories. Maybe the offense isn't great. They kind of just do enough. But then you got to run the gauntlet with Cleveland, Baltimore, Washington in there. Dallas now looks like they have that high-powered offense. Now you got to run that gauntlet. And it's like, if the offense falters later on in the season, then it's like those first three games masked a lot of issues.
Yeah.
So I wonder, do you guys think that's possible?
I think it is possible. The likelihood of it, I'm not too sure. I think this is probably going to be one of the lowest scoring games for the Denver Broncos. That's just my opinion. I think after this is because, Colin puts up a really good point, which is that they scored a lot in the preseason game. Both minus LA, but in Minnesota and especially in Seattle, they scored over 30 points.
Yeah.
So it is a possibility for this team to score and score effectively, but I don't know. Something about this game just makes me feel like it's not going to be a high scoring game, but
the Giants defense is good too. So that's why part of that, like I said, is it does include like a defensive score or a big flipping a field. An 80-yard punt return, 70-yard punt return, something where it's an easy, quick strike for the Denver Broncos. Because if the Broncos, I don't have any doubt that Bridgewater can drive this team down the field 80 yards. It's just that it's going to take 7-8 minutes every time he does that. So the defense is going to need to put them in a position and get that with those turnovers to get that, or like I said, flipping that field with some returns and some big plays. That's really where I think the key is.
No special teams gaffes either. That's killed the Broncos. That's killed the Broncos in a lot of games. So they're going to need to clean that up.
Well, boys, let's look forward to the rest of the weekend.
Yes.
Are there, first and foremost, for you boys, are there any games that you were looking forward to specifically? I've got a couple in my head, but I want to see if you guys had any that you're excited for.
Every single one.
That's the correct answer.
I am very interested in that Jets-Panthers game because I want to see not just how Darnold is, I want to see how the Jets look like. Mace, you and I were talking about this before the show, but I like what the Jets are doing with Zach Wilson. They're building the offense around him. Robert Saleh is a great leader. We saw that in San Francisco. Douglas seems to be building this team for Zach Wilson. I'm interested to see how he comes out and he plays because this is a test for the Jets. We're going to see if they really can dedicate themselves to building around a franchise quarterback, which they failed to do with Darnold. If they can build that with Wilson, then they could really be a factor in the AFC. So I'm interested in that game.
Fair enough.
That game's interesting. That has a lot of storylines too with it, because not only do you have Sam Darnold going back and facing his former team, it's also Robbie Anderson's facing his former team too.
Yeah.
And Sam Darnold, Robbie Anderson got paid in Carolina because of what he did in New York with the Jets with Sam Darnold. And last year he did it again with Christian McCaffrey out. So, Robbie Anderson, unfortunately, I've got to look at, I have DJ Moore on my team in our fantasy league. So I hope DJ Moore goes off, but I really think it's going to be. But you're
also like, it's Robbie be Anderson, come on.
I wanted him so bad. I know. Yeah. And was it you that took him? Someone took him, right?
Somebody took him. I don't think it was me.
But that's a big thing. And then seeing how Carolina reacts with Christian McCaffrey back, because he's a difference maker and he's what makes that offense run. And it's something that Sam Darnold hasn't had. So that should be a fun game to watch. I just, the Jets, it's still going to be some time before the Jets do anything really of noise. Yeah.
They're going to need, they're a very young team, a very inexperienced team. They're going to need some time to get their feet under them. I'm actually interested to see Titans and Cardinals. Two opposite styles of play going head to head. Titans are ground and pound. Cardinals are air raid. So I'm going to see, I actually want to see who wins that one. Kyler Murray throwing for 1,000 yards or Derrick Henry running for 1,000 yards. That's going to be interesting.
Do you really think that the Titans are going to be total? Like, they have Derrick Henry. I get it.
I know they added
Julio Jones.
AJ Brown.
That team,
I get it.
I think they're going to be a lot like what I imagine the Cowboys being throughout this season.
But here's the thing:
where they run the ball, but also have a very. It's going to be a very balanced attack. It's not going to be a 400 rushing attempt or 350 plus rushing attempts for Derrick Henry again, because I believe Tennessee realizes what value they have in Derrick Henry, and they don't want to burn him out. So I think they're going to try and balance it and throw a little bit more. And it's not going to be the air raid that is Arizona, but I look at them throwing the ball more this season than they have in the past, especially because that is in Tennessee, right? Yeah. Tennessee, Ryan Tannehill at home last year, he threw like 100 yards more on average at home than he did on the road. They're going to throw the ball and they're going to show off their new toy in Julio Jones.
We're also going to find out if that Titans pass rush is fixed with the addition of Bud Dupree. We're going to find out if they've done anything with that pass rush. I'm also interested in.
Give someone else a chance to say their game, Caleb.
All right.
You just taking their first two. Golly, man.
Colin, you want to do another game?
My Cleveland Browns. This season for Colorado. It's Cleveland, dude. Browns Chiefs. I don't know how that
should be the Sunday.
I don't know how that is not a Sunday night game where the Rams and Bears are. I didn't understand who was behind
I don't get it either, because I mean every TV really should be tuned into that game. I mean, the only reason that my TV won't be tuned into that is because the Broncos are playing at the same damn time.
That's why you got Red Zone.
It's going to be on.
You got Red Zone.
So
Red Zone's a lot of money, though.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
Give me your password, Caleb, and I'll use it. But the Browns Chiefs game is going to be that should be the highest scoring game of the day.
Yeah.
But for that, it's kind of the same thing that I talked about with the Broncos for the Browns. I want to see how that defense reacts, how those young guys from last year come about, knowing that they were really one possession away, or they were one possession away from beating the Chiefs and basically potentially going on to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And, I think they would have put up a better fight than the Chiefs did in that Super Bowl. There was a lot of stuff going on with the Chiefs that's all gone, but that Browns and Chiefs game in Arrowhead to open up, it's going to be rowdy. I don't expect to see one brown shirt in the crowd, and if they are, they probably have beer on them.
Yeah.
So
that's probably true.
Beer and barbecue thrown all over them.
Oh God, everywhere.
Yeah.
Do you think Kansas City's offensive line is going to be the difference maker this year for KC?
It definitely will
I think it's going to be much better.
Well, because also keep in mind, the Browns have an excellent pass rush. They got Myles Garrett and the added Jadeveon Clowney. They still got a really good defensive tackle in Larry Ogunjobi who can eat up the middle. They have a pretty good linebacking core added with Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. Their secondary.
Say it again.
Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, the guy I wanted but didn't get him. Their secondary got a huge upgrade by adding John Johnson from the Rams, a fantastic safety, and Troy Hill, who's a fantastic.
Who names their child John if the last name's Johnson? I just thought about that.
He's the third one, by the way. He's John Johnson the third.
I don't get this.
Wasn't your question, Mason, about the offensive line for KC?
Well, it was, yeah. I was like, he was talking about the pass rush, and then I realized he went into the secondary. So yes, yeah.
I'm just saying, like that pass rush. Like even if the pass rush isn't there, the Browns have a pretty good secondary. It's not like they're weak on the back end. They still got Denzel Ward. They add Greg Newsome out of Northwestern, who's a great young corner. I'm legit excited to see how that defense holds up against Kansas City.
I'm just excited for that game in general. And again, whoever decided to not put that on Sunday Night Football, you should be fired. Like,
and it's like, I understand why Monday night is the Ravens and Raiders game. I get it because the opening of the stadium, I get it. But
that's what they're doing Sunday night.
This one's got to be a prime time.
But that's why they're doing Sunday night. It's the
rechristening.
It's the rechristening of SoFi Stadium with fans in it this time. What they wanted last year to be with the Cowboys.
Yeah. Or why the hell didn't they do 2 Monday night games again this year?
I'm surprised
something to put this in, because it is in Kansas City and it's in its central time zone, so you can put that game earlier so the East Coast can watch it and not have a problem. It's just I don't know why the NFL changed that this year in the scheduling, because it's been the last 5 years, 4 years.
Yeah,
there have been 2
time.
Monday night games.
Yeah.
It really surprised me that wasn't a highlighted game, because even on that the afternoon slate, I know we're not going into all of them, but you have Packers, Saints, Chargers, Washington, Seahawks, Colts. There's some good Seahawks, Colts is early, excuse me. There's I guess Packers, Saints would be that big game.
Dolphins, Patriots, the battle of the Dolphins, Patriots, battle of the Bama boys. That's going to be interesting.
I didn't realize. Yeah, there's only.
With this Sunday night game between the Rams and the Bears, Caleb and I talked a little bit about this. Do you anticipate seeing Justin Fields? And if so, do you anticipate him being any good or useful?
Yes and no.
That's exactly what Caleb and I said.
Matt Nagy said that don't be surprised if Fields plays.
Yeah.
So, yeah, of course I expect him to play. I don't know why they wouldn't expose him to that, because what are you saving Justin Fields for?
Yeah.
Who are you saving him to go against and get obliterated by? He's going to have to face the Rams and these good defenses at some point in time this season. You can't protect and put bubble wrap around your quarterback. So, the only team that really should put bubble wrap around their quarterback is the San
Denver
Francisco
Broncos?
49ers.
Oh, that's right.
Oh yeah, because
Trey Lance hasn't thrown a pass in, what is it, like 300? Well, he didn't up until it was like over a year since he threw his last pass, and he
An
only
actual
played
pass
in
that
one
means
game
something.
in two seasons.
and he was
So
really up and
that's
down.
the
in
guy
the
that they need to put bubble wrap.
He
Yeah,
was really up. Like for every good throw he would make, he would throw a bad one right after. Like it's going to sound harsh, but it looked a lot like Drew Lock last year. He would make a big.
it doesn't sound harsh.
No, but it's like, well, he would make a big.
It's harsh to you because
no, it's harsh because he's a rookie. I get it. He's a rookie. He's learning, but he would make a huge big time throw for 40 yards, and then he throw a ball right into a cornerback that he had no idea. He didn't know where to go with that, so he just threw it right to the corner. Like that's why I don't want him to start. It's clear that he still needs some fine tuning. He's not ready.
So to kind of finish up, we've talked about all the games I think we're excited about.
Yeah.
Let's get into a little bit of news that's happened. 3 individual members of the Baltimore Ravens football team have torn ACLs. 2 of them were running backs, and then one of them is Marcus Peters, their cornerback. So
and LJ Fort too, they're one of their linebackers too. He tore one.
I mean, is there a curse upon Baltimore this year? Do you guys think?
Every year the injury gods choose one team to take out their aggression on. This year it appears they've chosen Baltimore. And it looks like it was going to be the Colts, but then they got Whit Nelson and Wentz back. So it looks like the Ravens, because they also lost Justice Hill to an Achilles tear. So they just signed Le'Veon Bell and Latavius Murray this past week. Not to mention,
which I did pick up Latavius Murray in my fantasy league. You should, if you haven't.
Not to mention their top wideout that they drafted, Rashard Bateman. Yeah, he's still on IR. So
yeah, I mean that team is decimated. My the pick of Cleveland winning that North is just
easy,
looking better and better and better right now.
Because Pittsburgh's not coming out.
No. And Pittsburgh did just sign TJ Watt. Well, yeah, I mean, I had Pittsburgh and Cincy battling for last place in that division, honestly. And I think it's going to be a lot closer with how Pittsburgh ended. But for the Ravens, I mean, I feel bad for that team, and I do feel bad for Lamar Jackson. He signs this contract. This should be another year where they put him in an offense that helps him succeed. But now he's got no running backs. I mean, literally, like they have to go full fantasy football on this and have a 0 RB strategy and have, I don't know, he's got to improve his passing.
We're going to find out.
Le'Veon Bell's,
we're going to find out how much he's
real fast
as a passer. He's going to have to.
Well, and I mean, not only are we going to find out if he's a good passer, we're going to find out if he's willing to adapt and if he's able to adapt.
We're also going to.
I mean, you cannot run that ball 60 times a game.
I will say this.
No, not just as a quarterback.
I will say this as
those guys, because that was one of the dangerous things. It was one of the dangerous things about the Ravens was that they always had. There was another guy there, whether it was J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, Mark or Ingram, back there, the third. There was always somebody there who could run it besides Lamar. And now it really is just Lamar and a bunch of guys who belong in the NFL nursing home. Yeah.
Well, what's
Justin
also going to help,
which, if you guys aren't familiar,
I remember
prominent Ravens running back said that he's getting his cleats and he's signing up today. So.
Well, what's also
he didn't put in his retirement papers.
What's also going to help is that the Raiders secondary is relatively weak compared to the rest of the teams, especially in their division. Like they have they have a rookie safety and they have Jonathan Abram, who's not very good. They have who's the guy they drafted last year? Out of Ohio State. Mullen, who's not very good. They just signed Casey Hayward. That was a good signing, but I don't know how much they're going to get out of him. And their slot is extremely weak. So Lamar is going to get a little bit of a reprieve. All he has to do is just don't take too many unnecessary risks. And also the Raiders' pass rush is weak as well. So it's not like he's going to have to run in circles for his life. And they upgraded their line as well. So I suspect they'll be fine, at least this week. But then,
for week 1,
but then again, I said their schedule is really easy.
But doesn't this have a little bit of that Michigan Appalachian State feel for you going to college?
I don't know about that.
Well, like you really think that the Raiders? I mean, they're kind of an afterthought. At least they have been as far as recently. Whereas the Ravens have been the Showtime, the highlight reel team, and like the Raiders are second fiddle. And it's just like, I mean, they're just going in, and it should be a game that they win even without these guys.
Yeah.
But the Raiders, with that energy and that, I mean, they're opening up that stadium, Legion Stadium. A year after not letting fans in because if one couldn't go, none couldn't go. And that I just think that things are vibing towards the Raiders with what's happened to the Ravens. It's got to be tough to keep your mentally focused up there.
Yeah,
I guess you could say that, but here's my thing. I said that the Ravens have a very easy schedule. They don't have to face the Browns till October. They got to take advantage of those early games. Win as many as you can until you have to face Cleveland, because then it's going to amp up. Then you have a team that's healthier than you, that's more stacked than you. So then shit picks up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
when you said that last week about the Ravens schedule, I looked at it as we were talking. We did get to go back into it. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like that schedule is, it seems like a cakewalk.
It does. It pretty much is too. So
that's why they have to take advantage of all of the games outside of Cleveland. Win all of those.
Yeah. That's why, and I think it should be easier for them to do.
Yeah.
Well, we have recapped many of the games for week 1. I think now it's time to go down a prediction route. Colin and Caleb, I want to hear your guys' MVP, your offensive player of the year, and your defensive player of the year predictions for the end of the season. Okay. Caleb, you start.
MVP, I got Josh Allen. I think he gets it this year.
Yeah.
Offensive player of the year, I'm going to actually go with Antonio Brown from the Buccaneers. I think he's going to have if last night was any indication.
Bold.
Yeah, if last night was any indication, he's going to have a monster year. Defensive player of the year.
He looked like Pittsburgh Brown.
Yeah. Defensive player of the year, I'm going to go TJ Watt. I think he gets it this time. He's hungry. He almost got it last year. I think he gets it this time.
That's fair.
Colin? Oh man, well, I love the TJ Watt pick as far as defensive player of the year. It's hard. I mean, it's hard to say mixing up. I mean, it is between him and Aaron Donald. That's kind of where I sit. I really wish I could say it's going to be. I really wish I could say it's going to be Von Miller. That's literally who I really want to say.
Yeah.
Because I want that to happen, and I want him to regain that form.
I think he'll win comeback player
and have 19 sacks. Comeback.
Well, Dak might. Well, if Dak has a good, I think might steal it.
Dak could.
Yeah, I'm like Dak looks like he's going to be the front runner for that one. It's going to take a lot. The tough part for me, I think offensive player of the year. I think that's going to. I want to say Russell Wilson for MVP, even though he's never gotten votes. It's just kind of he deserves one, but I think Russell Wilson is going to have a great season with his second year with DK Metcalf. Tyler Lockett probably doesn't have the second half swoon, and if Carson and Penny all stay healthy, that offense should be good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I hate agreeing, but yeah, Josh Allen should be the MVP this year. I mean, I know typically offense, I want to say MVP is going to be Russell, but I don't think that they're going to be that. I think the Rams win that division, so I kind of think also that comeback player of the year could easily. I lost it. Well, I lost it. I'm going squirrel moment, but yeah. So offensive player of the year, yeah, Russell Wilson.
Okay.
Yeah.
So MVP, Josh Allen and Russell Wilson.
And yeah, I agree. TJ Watt, he got his money, and the only thing that I'm scared about with that is that actually, you know what?
You changing it up?
I'm changing it. Shaq Barrett.
Oh, damn. All right.
Okay.
You know what? Not bad.
You know, now
Not a
that
bad
I
choice.
have to think about it, because I was just like, Pittsburgh is going to be losing games. And so it's going to look bad on Watt, but Tampa Bay is going to win, and Shaq Barrett has been a monster the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shaq.
Yeah.
That's a good choice.
That is. I actually don't hate it. I think that's good. That's a good choice. I think we're all in consensus here. I think Josh Allen MVP. I can't see it no other way. Offensive player of the year for me, I think is going to be Dak Prescott. I think he's probably going to throw close to 400 almost every game, I would imagine. I think he'll lead the league in passing this year too.
With that defense, he'll
lead the league in passing as per usual for him. Defense player of the year, I can't go away from Aaron Donald. That man is just like Jesus Christ. How the fuck do you block that man?
Right.
So
I would say about
we can ask Andy Dalton after Sunday.
Sunday
night.
We'll ask Justin
Fields
too.
Aaron Donald happened.
We'll ask Justin Fields too, because Andy Dalton will get quartered, and then they'll put in Justin Fields, and then he'll get lit up like Tua got lit up in his first ever game. He'll get hit like a Mack truck.
Now,
I hope not.
I hope not too.
Just
now we
with
can
that
do this
offensive
too,
line,
or we
that
can
Bears
save it.
offensive line, just it's not going to happen.
No, I mean, I hope not, because I do for the future of football, watching good players play, and it'll be a fun conversation to have for many years. It could be a fun conversation for many years, especially for the Broncos fans, that Fields or Surtain. You know, like I hope we can have that conversation for a long time. I really do, because it would legitimately make things more entertaining, especially since we only see the Chicago Bears, every 3-4 years.
Yeah. We can talk about this now too, or we can save it for a later topic too. I was also wondering your guys' Super Bowl favorites and maybe even Super Bowl MVPs.
I want to go dark horse.
Okay. Let's do dark horse.
I love my dark horse.
Let's do it.
Browns.
Who is it?
No, the Browns aren't a dark horse anymore. I don't think they are, especially with what's happened with Ravens. I mean, I've been all over them the whole time, but Matthew Stafford and the Los Angeles Rams. You mentioned Aaron Donald, Defensive Player of the Year. You don't win Defensive Player of the Year typically on a shitty team. And, that defense, I know they lost Cam Akers, but they did bring in Sony Michel, who is a good pass cat, a good back. I mean, New England just basically showed him off to sell him off to the Rams. I do believe in Darrell Henderson. That team, I mean, Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, they're a really good team. And I know that division's going to beat each other up, but the Rams, I think, are the fittest and most ready to win. And making the playoffs, they should make some noise. And that's like the dark horse making it to the Super Bowl in the NFC that I think would give, honestly, Tom Brady and Tampa Bay the hardest time, because that offense can't keep up also with them. And their defense is capable of stopping Tampa Bay, or at least maybe not stopping them, holding them in check.
Yeah, I get you.
So, I mean, I said back in May, if Aaron Rodgers went back to Green Bay, they're my pick for the Super Bowl. And I'm sticking by it. I picked the Packers to win it this year. And I think Rodgers goes out with one more Super Bowl MVP in a Packer uniform. That's my pick.
All right. I think I not necessarily. It's tough. I'm between two teams, both in the AFC. I am struggling between the Cleveland Browns and the Buffalo Bills. I think in my heart of hearts, I really think Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, and that entire Buffalo defense, Buffalo team, rather, not the defense. I think they are in a very good position to win the AFC. I think put a very good run for their money against KC. I think it's probably going to be Buffalo and KC in the championship game. But I think this is finally the year where Buffalo puts it together. They go out, they play their game, they play the way that Josh Allen's been playing. I think Josh Allen is the one who probably puts Buffalo back on the map or even on the map. I don't even know however you want to put it.
I think it's on the map.
Yeah.
Like
I was just gonna say I all I know is that they made it to a couple of Super Bowls, but they never won. So
and that's the question that it brings up to me. That the question for me is that Buffalo is a dark horse because are they like the Broncos, the John Elway led Broncos, where they're never believed in until they actually win? And Josh Allen could be that guy. I believe he should be that guy and will be that guy for the Bills, and this could be that year. But
his arc has been very
really
similar.
not.
His arc has been similar to Elway's, where flashes in rookie year but struggles. Second year, he's better but not quite there. And then in his third year, he really kind of broke out. Elway's fourth year is where he truly showed himself to be elite. Elway said his fourth year after the 98-yard drive against the Browns, he said, that's where people finally started respecting me. I think Allen's going to have a similar story. Yeah. Where this year,
if he gets over Kansas City, he's going to have to break that curse of Super Bowl losing for that team.
He's going to have to get over Kansas City.
He has to break that.
If he gets over those two, he's automatically earned the respect of the league if he beats those two teams.
Man, how scary is the AFC West for the future with these quarterbacks?
Especially if the Broncos can even try to remotely land Deshaun Watson. Like, man, that would be just so much fun to watch the AFC West.
If that changes, if that situation changes, but you just think about the quarterbacks just in all of the AFC, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes. I mean, it's so stacked. And
now
the
you got
future, the
Mac
future
Jones.
could be really Joe Burrow.
Yeah, Mac Jones.
Joe Burrow. Yeah, Joe Burrow too.
Zach Wilson, who I really like. Zach Wilson, possibly. Trevor Lawrence, if the Jags.
The future of AFC quarterbacks.
Yeah.
It looks bright. It looks damn bright right now.
Right.
And all this secondary work the Broncos did could really pay off a lot because they're going to need it against all these quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we end,
and it's not this year; it's years to come.
Yeah. Before we wrap it up, I want to name real quickly my offensive and defensive rookies of the year. Defensive rookie of the year will be Patrick Surtain, and offensive rookie of the year.
I got my money on it.
Offensive rookie of the year. I'm gonna go with the dark horse with how much I've praised him. Fuck it, I'm putting my chips in. Zach Wilson. With how much I've praised him and the Jets, fuck it, I'm putting my chips in. I'm going with Zach. I'm going with Wilson.
I think for me, it depends upon if the Bears immediately week 2 go to Fields, I think Fields takes it.
Okay.
But they need to go to Fields ASAP.
Wow.
But think defensive player of the year, I'm with the two of you guys. It's got to be Surtain.
I can't believe there's no Mac Jones love here.
I like Mac Jones.
Seriously. He's in New England with the Patriots.
I know.
Give him some love.
I'm giving him love. That's
my
easy pick, especially after he beats Cam Newton.
Here's my top five.
Yeah,
it goes,
I think
you want Mac Jones. He's your rookie of the year.
Well, I just think Mac Jones, like Zach Wilson, okay. I think he'll be okay, but I think there's going to be too many growth situations for that where that team just isn't ready, whereas the Patriots put around a surrounding cast that's going to help make Mac Jones look even better, and that curve is going to be lessened because of who he has around him.
Fair enough.
So Mac Jones, I think, is got to, if they're going to make any noise, it's going to be Mac Jones.
My rookie of the year goes Wilson, Jones, Lawrence, Fields, and then actually Kyle Pitts behind Justin Fields because Kyle Pitts was so lauded coming out of the draft. I don't have Trey Lance in there because
I haven't
heard
anything about him for a while.
Well, because nobody knows when he's going in.
He didn't play.
We have an idea of we have an idea of when when Justin Fields is going to play. The other guys are starting. We have no idea when they're going to play Lance because Kyle Shanahan is very secretive about this stuff. So we don't know when he'll play.
Yeah.
Well, anything else you boys want to talk about? Otherwise,
I think that wraps it up for us.
All right. Well,
let's go Broncos, go.
Go Broncos, go. ladies and gentlemen, you guys have been listening to the Undrafted Uncensored. With me, I had the lovely Caleb Malden, the lovely Collins Anchor. I love you guys. I'm Mason Stewart. We will see you guys next week, where I believe it is Connor Sheehan who will be doing. Oh, Colin Zanker will be doing all of the show operating business side of things.
All right.
So once again, thank you so much for listening. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you.
All right. See you next week.